Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to see you on this Monday morning. Got a special show lined up, but first, let's take a quick look at our weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. We're looking at a high today of 82, low of 69. Water temperature still around 80 degrees. We're looking at the, I don't have the river reads, we do the Monday moon forecast brought to us by Mountain Dew. We're right here at a half a moon. It's waning, okay? Had a beautiful full moon last week. Looking at the tide chart, good tides today and pretty good tides tomorrow. There's going to be neap tides the next couple of days. Our wind direction will be coming south-southeast at about 10, so that's sort of a quick synopsis of our Monday weather. We'll have the river readings and all tomorrow. And I want to go and set up this video, and you know, you go through life and you have different stages of your life, and you have friends in every stage. You know, you're growing up friends and your high school buddies, and you know, having college friends, and then young adults, and you just have a group of friends and all, and it sort of makes your life a lot more complete when you have different friends and all. And I've been blessed with some wonderful friends, and met one when we were fairly young adults, and our kids were playing baseball together. A man named Bill McNeal, and we hit it off. Our kids playing at Mid-City baseball, and we hit it off right away, and we had some wonderful experiences, and we shared a lot of stories. And a consummate outdoorsman, spent a life working Arizona Chemical, but he grew up, born and raised in St. Andrews, and I got to know his family real well, and got to see him every now and then, and we just always hit it off, and we just became good friends, lifelong friends. And I spent some time with him. When I started doing the show, one of the things I wanted to do was actually get some pictures of him making cast nets, because he was a consummate cast net maker from St. Andrews. Well, Bill passed away last week, and we'll be doing his services tonight. And his family's asked me to speak, and I wanted to start the day off by showing this last video I took of him making a net. And he leaves behind 7 children, 10 grandchildren, and 17 great-grandchildren. So I want to honor Bill McNeal today and tonight later on, but he's a special man and such a good friend to me. So we're going to take a break and come back and watch our final video we did with Bill McNeal. Hi, today I'm here with a good friend of mine, Bill McNeal. How about it, Bill?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Doing good. Now, Bill is old St. Andrew fella, and I've known him for a long time. We go way back to when our boys were little, played Mid-City baseball. It seemed like years ago, but it seemed like only yesterday.
Right.
And we got to know each other then, and Bill's one of the last guys that I know of, and one of the last guys around that's still making cast nets. So we're here today to visit with Bill. We're in his net shop, and we're going to get a good interview with him, and he's going to show us what's going on. Bill, how long have you been doing cast nets?
Well, Winston, I've been throwing cast nets longer than I've been doing them. Back years and years ago, I had an uncle that needed the nets for practically the whole family, but when I was about 18, 19, he told me I was old enough to get my own net. So ever since then, I'll be 75, August 5th, ever since then, I knitted nets for years and years and years. And then Bert Gwaltney, Bert's a very talented friend of mine. He's the first guy that I know of around here locally that started making monofilament nets. And he worked with me in Arizona, but we was born and raised together, kids right on up. He told me one day, he said, you need to get in these monofilament nets. Bert, I'm hard to change, you know. But I let him talk me into it. I got me some whip, and he showed me how to cut one out. I said, man, this is ticket. So I got into them, and then from that, people got me to want me to build one, this, that, and other. And probably, let's see, I've been retired 15 years. 30 years ago, I got into these monofilament nets. And I just built up a business, mostly building good nets, nets that I like. And
Bill, we were talking about the evolution of nets back a long time ago. The old timers, they made them out of what kind of material?
Back when I was a boy, all the nets was knitted out of cotton because the nylon hadn't came out. And there was a brand, it was called Sea Island was the brand, and everybody just said Sea Island cast nets, you know. And but then when nylon came out, right to start with, they didn't have a bonding agent on it, and the knots was bad to slip when you was sewing them up. But pretty quick, they made a bonding agent that went on the nylon, and it'll just draw down.
So now this is like a nylon net here.
Time and all that, you know. And it's cut out. It's cut out and actually looks like in panels.
No, it's not a very big one, but it's convenient. It's got leather. It's leather up in here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's no leather. That's really a small horn, but it's you know, for its time, it's fine. But this is something that's, I don't believe I've ever saw a spacer built without a leather. You know?
Okay.
I don't believe I've ever saw one of them like that.
Okay, one of the disadvantages, you were telling me one of the disadvantages of a nylon net. What would it be?
They get heavy. They soak up water as they get wet and get heavier on you. But now if they're fresh dipped in varnish, it's got to break that varnish apart and some, but then it goes to get worse. But the varnish makes them stiffer, you know, and they throw better.
Bill, now I noticed you have boxes and boxes of webbing. Tell us real quick about your webbing and all you have here.
Well, you webbing, I have to order my webbing different depths for the different lengths of the nets. Some of it be like making 8 or 9 foot nets. Some of it be like 10, some 12. I lay it out and I cut pie-shaped tapers, you know, and sew them together. The most popular webbing I make nets out of nowadays is 1 1/8 bar, which is a 2 1/4 inch stretch mesh, because it'll catch a medium-sized silver mullet up, you know.
Okay. All right, Bill, you got your webbing all laid out. What's your next step?
Okay, you cut pie-shaped panels. You start with like 4 meshes at the top and cut it out on a taper all the way to the bottom, and that widens it out. You cut 8 of them out, and then you got to trim them up where you can sew them together. And then you start sewing it up. Now, small nets don't take all that long, but some of these nets will take 8 or 9 hours just sew it up, you know.
Wow.
And you spend 1 hour and a half, 2 hours cutting it out. So you're looking at 10 to 12 hours just cutting the net out and sewing it up.
Wow.
But then we got pour the leads, and I pour my own leads. I got a lot of lead molds, different size lead molds. They're homemade molds, but that I use because I can make them different weights by having the different size and weights of the mold.
Right.
Bert Walton is the only person I know of around here that's got a bunch of molds too. Bert's a very, very, very good net maker. Very good person. Then when we get the cut out, trimmed out, we start sewing on. And 12-foot bag net is actually about 14-foot deep webbing, because you got to allow for the pocket on the bottom. But it'll take me about 50 minutes per panel just to sew it up, you know. Mold the lids, and then we come in and string them up. You can see here, I'm starting to hang in this bait net for a guy, putting the lead line on it. Then when we get the lead line on, we'll dip it. That's when I dip in varnish, and when it dries, then I got this. I make up my brails and tie them in it, you know, and then it's finished. So you string your lids up, string them up, then as you start hanging, you pull them off, you know, count them off.
Yeah.
And then when you get the lead line up, you mark each hanging on there, each where you tie a knot, you mark it.
So each one of these markings is going to be a knot.
That makes your net balanced. Every net is exactly the same, spaced apart, exactly the same. And believe it or not, balance in a net, cat net, makes a world of difference in the way it throws.
On your lines here, Bill, how far apart how do you know to do all your lines?
Well, it's simple math. Winston, you, like a 12-foot net, you get your diameter, then you multiply that by 3.14 and get your circumference. And then every how many leads that you're going to put on it to get the weight, you divide that into the circumference, and it gives you exactly how far apart they need to be.
Okay. All
the way around the net. And my nets, like I say, they're balanced. Cast nets needs to be balanced. I see nets other people built different places that's been brought here, and they're not really balanced lead lines, and consequently they don't throw as good as what I build or Bert Bolton build. Okay. Bert and I build exactly the same net. In fact, Bert showed me how to cut out the monofilament nets. When I got that webbing, he showed me how to cut one out. Of course, then on I had it.
Bill, tell me first about your net needle, and you said your dad used to have some old needles.
Well, when I was a boy, they didn't have these type needles, you know, molded needles. Everybody, Daddy, he carved our needles out of second growth hickory. He wouldn't have nothing but second growth because he said it was stronger. When they came out with these, we called them plastic. Well, the first one was plastic. They broke pretty easy, but now they've got Delrin and stuff that's strong. You might get 10 years out of a needle now, you know, use them. This needle here is probably 12 years old.
So now you got your line hanging, you got your webbing, so just show us what.
Yeah, I got this already marked off. You have to have, you mark your lead line off where everything will be exactly the same distance apart. And I use those paint stirring paddles for different size leads, different lengths apart, you know, and so every one of them don't hang the same distance, you know.
Folks, you're looking at what has almost become a lost art in America, and hanging a net here. Not many people are doing this, and it is an art.
What's really become a lost art is people that knows how to mend them, how to patch nets.
So you're hooking every little web there.
You throw 2 hitches around the lead line, and then you come with a 3rd hitch to tighten it up, you know. So that makes it good and strong. These bait nets, you need them, the webbing tight to the lead line, because catching them small baits, you know, if you got a big loop between each one, a lot of them will get out and stuff like that. But you get these are bait nets. I get a little bit more for them than I do the mullet nets, but there's a lot more work. I was thinking a couple of days ago, this net here, I sell this net for $200. When I built the first one of these nets, probably 12, 13 years ago, I got $200. Now, stuff's went up a lot on me since then. I got thinking, you know, sooner or later I might have to go up. I'm gonna wait till the economy gets a little better. I've talked several times about quitting, and the people said, my God, where we gonna get our nets?
Now you're tying it off now?
Well, this I'm running out on this needle, so I got another one to twine on it over there. But that will slip, square knot by itself. You can put pressure on it and make it slip. But you can take your longest loop, come around the line, back up through it, just throw 1 hitch, and that stops it from ever slipping. You can pull all you want to against it, then you can't make that knot slip then. And they say a dog's man's best friend, but it ain't a good pocket knife.
I just thought it was special. You know, we all have an opportunity to go to these superstores and all and buy these
nets made overseas and all. I just feel like it's so important, folks, to get a net like this from someone who's local, who's been here a couple of generations, and it's actually handmade here locally. I'm just proud to own mine. I just love throwing mine, and like I said, we bought it for gifts and all. So this is really neat. We're here watching this with Bill doing it.
Yeah, Weston, people knows about me up down the coast. There was a guy come over from Tallahassee week before last and bought 3 nets. Now he had seen a man throwing my nets at Lanark. And the guy that was throwing it was an old retired grouper boat captain. And he gave me my phone number, you know, and also he called me and he came got 3 nets. And now there's a guy from Tallahassee, his son lives here. He come by yesterday and he said Daddy wanted one, so I'm getting. In Tallahassee now, these guys that goes down to the coast and cast nets, they're going to start buying my nets.
I know you have a lot of folks up in Alabama coming out here getting.
I'm selling Alabama. I've even shipped them to Tennessee, South Carolina.
You know, Bill, we talk about living on the coast and the heritage that we've all inherited from all the families and all, and cast netting is a strong part of our heritage.
Oh yeah, I can remember when I was young and all, there was families around here that there'd be days they wouldn't have nothing to eat if they didn't go to baby cast net and catch them some muddy deets, you know, and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they didn't use cast nets to catch fish to sell. They caught fish to eat, and it was just families tried to have one. And a lot of times then the women in the family, the wives and stuff, knitted the nets because it took so long to knit a hand-knitted net. You know? If you could turn out a hand-knitted net in a month and a half, you was really pouring it on, you know. And Tim and I together, we'll build 12, 14 a month of these type nets here, you know.
Yeah. Well, there's so many of those St. Andrew families that relied on that net. I know when I was doing the book, how many of them told me how net fishing was so important to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, Bill, once you get your line, once you get it all tied in and all, what would be your next step?
The next step after we get this lead line on the net is we dip it, hang it up, let it dry. Next step after we dip the net and it dries, I make the brails up on this jig, and then I have to take them under a carport where I can spread it out, and then I tie the lines on. I make these spacers myself out of plexiglass, some of them, different types of material, but usually 1/4 inch.
And then your swivels.
Swivels, I buy them. I try to buy, this is a 12-aught swivel. I like to be sure, and I use 150-pound test monofilament, because I don't think you should be any chance of your monofilament breaking with a load of fish, because it's not entirely impossible. And the fact is, one guy I know caught over 600 pounds of mullet one time at one throw with one of these long braille nets.
Goodness gracious. You just bring it all the way down.
I bring it all the way down, and you go through, to start off, you go through just one hole, up through the swivel, and then back through a hole right beside it. Do this 13 times and you've got your 26 holes filled on that space.
Okay, you do it 13 times.
Yeah, you put 13 trips like this, it'd be 26 brails, because you're actually putting 2 brails at one trip. Do this 13 times and you've got your 26 holes filled on that space.
Okay, you do it 13 times.
Yeah, you put 13 trips like this, it'd be 26 brails, because you're actually putting 2 brails at one trip.
And it makes me want to go home and throw my net this afternoon. All right, Bill, now you got your Braille line, so now you tell them you take it, you got everything now, you take it all outside.
To my carport. Okay. Under my carport, and I stretch it out over a lawn chair where it'll be up off the ground in the center. And I take my brails out there and thread them through the horn. And that way is to separate the brails and tie them to the lead line all the way around the distance that I want them. And then you go along and secure them, tie them tight, you know, very tightly to the lead line and all. And then all you do is bring it in here, put the hand line on, and it's ready.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap up our visit here with Bill McNeal, master net builder and a lifetime resident of
Lifetime of St. Andrews.
Okay. Bill, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for coming out. You're old friends, but we don't get to see each other regular enough, I don't think.
I agree, and I appreciate you get to watch the show every morning.
Practically one morning recently, I slept through it, and that's a very rare occasion.
Okay, we appreciate you watching it, and folks, you want to get one of these handmade quality nets from Bill McNeal. The number is 872-9306. But we'll talk more about that on the show. But this is how you make the nets, and this is just one of our last folks that makes the nets now. So, Bill, thank you.
You're very welcome, and I appreciate y'all coming, and very glad to see you.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.